Next up for Idaho, for the next Idaho signing that was announced is the Tony Harste, 5'11", 170 wide receiver out of Puyallup, Washington. Went to Emerald Ridge High School. And knowing Patrick, who is also an Eastern Washington fan, is probably familiar with this tape for other reasons outside of just being another Vandal signing. Patrick, what are your thoughts on Tony Harste?
Yeah, so Tony played with Eastern recruit Jake Shackle, the quarterback, and Jake Shackle's a guy I'm very high on, and Tony's also a guy I'm very high on. Tony is a stud, dude. He comes in kind of as a complete package, kind of slot receiver type build. He is about 5'11", 170 pounds as of now. I'm sure they're going to try to put a little bit more weight on him, but he's got a lot of the skills to be a guy that could contribute pretty early into his career. He makes tough catches, and he just makes it look easy, especially over the middle with really skinny windows. That was something that Jake was really good at, is fitting the ball in those tiny windows between defenders down the middle. And Tony was kind of the go-to guy down the seam and on the slant routes and all that stuff, and making those tough catches down the middle where he's going to get cracked by a linebacker. He always comes down with the ball, and it's very impressive. He can just make every catch, though. There's clips on here. He's making over-the-shoulder catches. He's making end-zone fade catches. He's making over-the-shoulder catches. Bryan, I'm not good with former Vandals because I don't know a lot of former Vandals, but the first thing that came to my mind when I watched this tape, Efton Chisholm. That. I did fire off that email, Bryan. Anyways, wait, did I? Maybe I did. Anyways, he's a great route runner, and he has really good feel against zone coverage, where he will just go sit in that soft spot and give his quarterback a great target. And the thing I'm almost most excited for with him is his after the catch ability, because the dude just makes plays after the catch. He's so hard to get a hand on for defenders, and I think Eck is going to use him in the screen game tons.
Kind of just instant reaction to that, Patrick. Would you say maybe a better, maybe not as fast version of as maybe a JJ, kind of more in that maybe a better catcher and just more move, maybe just kind of the only comparison I can even think of is maybe JJ, but obviously JJ was very fast.
Yeah, I think JJ would be probably a good comparison. I don't know if he has quite the top end speed that JJ had, and he's a little bit taller than JJ was, but I think he'll play that similar slot receiver role, and he's going to be another guy like Dwyer, like Bryan was saying, and also like JJ, where they're used in the screen game a lot. I think he's gonna be one of those guys at Eck is just trying to get the ball to in space, let him do his thing, let him make a guy miss.
Hold on, producing in public for a second. I just noticed, watch this video if you're on YouTube right now. He just the defender bobbles it, and then he just goes up and just plucks it out of the Puyallup defender's hands. He is a very guy. The more I watch on this tape, which I'll be honest is a little slower, just because I'm not as Patrick, but he is just very much the more I watch, the more I like him.
Oh yeah, dude. He is one where I watched a lot of his film when doing my research on Jake for what I'm doing for the Eastern recruits, and I was like, who's 5? And then I look it up, and I'm like, oh, it's a guy Eastern offered, and then I'm like, oh, he's an Idaho commit. So I think he's gonna be a stud, and a lot of this class makes me think of an Eastern class. There's comparisons that make me think of Eastern receivers, and if you know anything about Eastern, they produce some of the best receivers in the country. So I mean, I don't know, like I said, I think he's a guy that just kind of does it all from the receiver spot, and he has all those skills, the eye popping ball skills. He can run by a guy. I think what I wrote down in my little write up is he'll sit down. He has great feel against the excuse me. He has great feel against zone coverage, and then when he gets man coverage, he'll go beat it. I think he's going to be a guy that teams are going to have to double team. And I think the only thing that he might need to work on is just putting on a little size to kind of adjust to, Division I physicality, getting hit by safeties and linebackers if he's going to be playing that slot role. But he's one of those guys that I think could compete for some playing time offensively, or I think he has the skills to be a good punt returner. So I mean, JJ would be a really good comparison to kind of how he plays if you're just trying to think of one.
I'll be honest. Patrick, you got anything else you want to say about Tony Harste? Before I ask you that, as always, Tubbs of the Club is brought to you by Snake River Stampede Whiskey and Hughes River Expedition. Patrick, do you have anything else you want to say about Tony before we move on?
I'll just say, like, I don't remember if I said this earlier or not. He reminds me so much of Chisholm from Eastern, like his tape, just the way, like that play right there. That's something that Chisholm does almost every game for Eastern, where he does that little backpedal, make the defender go by him, and then run. He makes guys look like they're running in slow motion, and he's playing, I think he's playing 4A high school ball. Like in Washington, some of these guys are FBS recruits. Like he's not playing scrubs. Number 1 for Puyallup is a Eastern recruit, and he made him look funny. So I mean, I'm really excited for Tony.
Oh yes, and as always, we'll be keeping live with all these videos as these sign-ins. So keep watching our Twitter account and YouTube channel for all these videos. And as always,
go Vandals.